The Torah says that Hashem has a hand, but isn't this just a metaphor? The Torah also says that Hashem loves us, but how can he have an imperfect human emotion? And what has this got to do with our relationship with him? If you think you really love, and Hashem doesn't, you've got it backwards. We are the metaphor. Even we have an essence. He is a someone, not a something. The difference between us and Hashem is not that we can love and he cannot. It's that his love is infinitely more real, more essential, more true than ours, because our love is a mashal for his. Who you are, the real, deep, essential you, is unchanging. No matter what you do, no matter what you feel, if we can truly desire, know, and love, so can Hashem, right? This is not the difference between us. In this video series, my goal is to release your mind and soul to be able to freely think about Hashem in the way the Torah talks about him. RabbiYehoshuaSimons held that awareness of God's personality is far more vital than philosophical speculation about what may or may not be said of God. In this video series, which is a follow-up from my previous video on the same topic, we're going to be talking about something very personal, our relationship with Hashem and how it works, Hashem himself. We know the Torah is full of descriptions of him, his hand, his love, his wisdom, and his will, and they're very, very important. But how do we understand them? What do they really mean, and what do they not mean? We're going to go really into the lumdus and the sources on this and get it right. Now, starting off, there are some very deep truths about Hashem that are the ikarim of our emunah, that he is one, that he is perfect, that he is ineffable, and that he is unchanging, that seem hard to reconcile with all of this. Now, not only are these fundamentals of our emunah, but they're also very deep, sophisticated philosophical statements. As such, comprehending them is usually left to the advanced thinkers, while most people are taught to accept these as truths with emunah, without probing too deeply or trying to understand them. As the Rambam says in Mar Nevuchim, part 1, chapter 35, where he emphasizes that most people should be taught basically how absolutely different and beyond comprehension Hashem is, and how he cannot be affected or changed, and saying otherwise would imply that he is not one. Therefore, we have come to teach the most basic explanation. Every description of Hashem is an anthropomorphism, which is a device for humans to use to help us in our service and connection, but it's not really true at all. And actually, thinking it true is heretical. This has had an adverse side effect. I'll put it in the words of Harav Shimshon and Raphael Hirsch when describing what it means for Hashem to regret creating us after seeing our wickedness. Regarding these and similar anthropomorphic expressions used about God, we allow ourselves a general observation. People have philosophized so long about these expressions in an effort to remove any notion of physicality that they have come dangerously close to dissolving the very personhood of God. Now, this is absolutely spot on. In order to avoid anthropomorphizing Hashem, and therefore being heretical, many well-meaning, sincere Ovdei Hashem, in their effort to avoid error, have ended up placing Hashem in a kind of unreachable mystery box, where he is thought of as entirely beyond feeling or relationship, practically deleting him from being real in their minds altogether. Chaval, chaval, chaval. Rav Hirsch continues, if that had been the Torah's intent, he could have easily avoided such expressions. But in fact, the greater danger lies in denying God's personality than in misreading these expressions as physical descriptions. These anthropomorphic terms safeguard two of the most essential ideas, the freedom of God and the freedom of man. It is no accident that the Torah says when God saw, human wickedness was not inevitable. God had to see it. His knowledge was not automatic. This assures us of human free will, and the fate that befalls man does not result from blind natural causality. Rather, it comes through God's deliberation, and that deliberation itself causes pain to the one who makes the decision. All of this presumes divine personality and freedom, and preserves these ideas in our consciousness. Already, RabbiYehoshuaSimons, one of our deepest Jewish thinkers, held that awareness of God's personality is far more vital than philosophical speculation about what may or may not be said of God. End quote. Sadly, the result today is that almost every book, every shir, every class, whenever Hashem is mentioned, we instinctively insert a preamble that undoes whatever we are about to say. When we say Hashem regrets, we immediately say, but of course Hashem doesn't regret anything. This is just a mashal. When we say he loves or is angry at us, we say kivyachol, so to speak. That's obviously just a human term. It doesn't really mean Hashem has emotions. Whenever we tell a bar mitzvah boy how important it is to put on tefillin, we hurriedly add, but of course Hashem doesn't need you to put on tefillin. It doesn't do anything for him. It's all just for your benefit. And when we tell someone to daven sincerely, we say, but of course Hashem doesn't really need your prayers or change his response. It's all just for your own spiritual growth. As you can see, Rav Hirsch and the RabbiYehoshuaSimons quotes in Hilchot Teshuvah and many other Gedolim were deeply against this, saying that it has resulted in a situation than the one that we started out trying to avoid, and the results are deeply damaging. By removing the sense of Hashem's personhood, we've ended up depersonalizing him entirely, chas v'shalom. Misconceptions are rife. We think he doesn't really need us, that he doesn't really care about us or feel for us. The Torah says otherwise, and these great Rabbanim, such as Rav Hirsch and the Ravad, and others, all confirm that this is because they are true, and it's vital for us to know this. The Rambam himself says that the terms of description Hashem uses in his Torah are true, homonyms pointing to a higher reality, even though they are not actually part of his essence. The Kuzari explains how important it is to not over-philosophize about Hashem, and that prophetic imagery is necessary for us to connect to him. Rav Albo also takes a position in Sefer Ikarim 222, emphasizing how we shouldn't confuse the fact that positive descriptions are his actions, but that does not detract from their truth or the impact that these descriptions should have in our relationship with Hashem, when we know that he loves us and he cares about us. In fact, understanding them and utilizing them is essential. He showed how Chazal took Hashem's descriptions very carefully and very seriously. Chazal forced us to refer to them in our prayers. I mean, after all, don't we say Hashem loves us twice a day with Shemu Malchut? Even the Vilna Gaon warns about this, taking it even to Midrashim, saying that we shouldn't relegate them to mere stories and puzzles. The Rambam, when understood deeply and on his own terms, does not deny that Hashem truly knows and wills. He simply refuses to describe these qualities in a way that implies limitation or composition, but that's all. Later thinkers often push this negative theology too far, beyond what even the Rambam intended. Misconceptions are now widespread. We begin to think that Hashem doesn't really need us, that he doesn't truly care about us or feel for us. But the Torah itself speaks otherwise, and these Rabbanim, including Rav Hirsch, the Ravad, Rambam, and definitely the Kabbalistic tradition, affirm that these descriptions of Hashem are true in the deepest sense. It is vital that we understand this and we get it right. But again, we come back to the original issues that brought us here in the first place. How can these statements be true, like Rav Hirsch says, if they seemingly contradict these theological truths that are the foundations of our faith, that he is one, perfect, ineffable, and never changes? So stay tuned for the next episode, because there we are going to bring some direct quotes from some absolutely fantastic, high-caliber sources, backing up the notion that, while the actions, descriptions, and attributes in the Torah may be unlike anything that we can grasp, they are nonetheless not empty metaphors, but divine truths, a divine nimshal for a very deep truth, and we will explain that as we go along.